MMA Boxing Talk here, coming at you with another video. I just want to make a short video talking about the highly anticipated UFC 200, which will be taking place in July of this year. Now, I know it's way down the road, but I just wanted to talk about just that card and. And maybe the possible fighters that'll be on that card, and just talk about stuff about UFC 200. Now, the last huge milestone UFC card was UFC 100 in 2009. Now that card, still to this day, is the highest pay-per-view numbers in UFC history. It did $1.6 million pay-per-view buys. Now UFC 100, that's 7 years ago, 2009. Brock Lesnar was the main event. He TKO'd Frank Mir in that fight to defend his title. And in the co-main event, there was George St. Pierre defending his welterweight title. Two of the at that time of the biggest pay-per-view stars in the UFC at that time in 2009. And in the third last fight of that card was Dan Henderson versus Michael Bisping, and all those fights were they were really great fights as well on paper, and they did come to fruition that night. They were all really exciting, good fights. Now, the UFC has grown a shitload since then. It just became a bigger company, more divisions. They've added 2 divisions since then, since 2009. 3 divisions, sorry. They added the 145 division. They added the 135 and the 125 division, all since 2009. So the sport has grown quite a bit. The sport has evolved quite a bit. But I do believe that UFC 200, the UFC is going to try their darndest to to make this the biggest card in UFC history. It'll be really good. So I just want to talk about some of the guys fighting or possibly might be fighting on this card. Now, there's no this card has not been set. There's no fights that have been announced for UFC 200 yet. But I just want to talk about perhaps the return of John Jones taking on DC. Now, I don't know if they want to wait till July. I know Jones is ready to go. They could end up fighting in April or May. I'm not too sure. But I do believe this UFC 200 card, it's going to be a huge exposure. The fighters are going to get huge paydays on that card. And I believe some fighters might want to, wait it out a little bit longer and maybe have a chance to get on that card, or they might want to fight soon, and so they're ready again to go in July. Now, the heavyweight fight, heavyweight championship of the world is on the line next month. Fabricio Verdum versus Cain Velasquez. So if Cain ends up winning and there's a rubber match, maybe we'll see that at UFC 200. Or if the champion Fabricio Verdum beats Cain for the second time and defends his belt, he might be on UFC 200. Now, there's also Conor McGregor. He's fighting in less than 2 months, March 5th. A lot of people have been making speculations that Conor McGregor wanted to get a quick turnaround fight after he took the belt from Aldo in December, and get a quick turnaround fight in March, and be able to hopefully fight in UFC 200. That's probably his plan, as well as the UFC's plan. Now, it's interesting because Conor McGregor has this huge fight coming up. It's a historic fight against Rafael dos Anjos, the champ at 155. Now, win or lose that fight, Conor McGregor, he'll still be the featherweight champion, and he even if he loses in 2 months to Rafael dos Anjos, I could still see him being on the UFC 200 card, defending his featherweight 145-pound title against maybe a Frankie Edgar, who has been so patiently waiting for a title shot, or the rematch versus Jose Aldo. So I could see maybe either one of those being on that fight, or on that card, I should say. Now, if Conor McGregor happens to lose to RDA, I mean, his stock is definitely gonna, plummet a little bit. But the fact is that he's moving up a division to fight a guy that's on a huge path of destruction. Rafael dos Anjos at the moment is the slight favorite. So even if he loses that fight, he always has the option to go down to 145 and, like I said, fight a Frankie Edgar or the rematch with Jose Aldo in July at UFC 200. That would still be a an interesting fight to see. I know a lot of people want to see Conor versus Frankie, so there's always that fight as well. Now, the middleweight champion of the world is Luke Rockhold. He just defeated Chris Weidman in a crazy fight. Should have been stopped early, and Rockhold continued to pound on Weidman and finally did get the stoppage. Now, I don't know if he's going to want to wait. Luke Rockhold's going to want to wait till, July to fight at UFC 200. That'll be interesting to see. And possibly Holly Holm, of course. Holly Holm now, she won't be fighting Ronda Rousey at UFC 200 because Ronda, she's doing movies now, and she has been, but she's doing a movie she's starring in a movie that got pushed back. Long story short, she won't be ready to go at UFC 200. So maybe Holly Holm will be defending her belt for the second time if she gets past Miesha Tate in March. So there's a lot of big fights. They're really going to stack this card, and just proof of that, they're going to stack this card. Two reasons. UFC 100 was a huge thing. They stacked that card beyond belief. So they're obviously going to want to do that with UFC 200, and it's going to be a huge, huge card. All the fighters are going to want to get on that card, and it's just that's what I was going to say. Another reason why they are going to stack the UFC 200 card is because if you go and look at the the future pay-per-view events leading up to UFC 200, you'll notice that that in June there's going to be there's no pay-per-view event that month. So my guess is that they're making sure the month before UFC 200 there's no fights. So there's just more fighters wanting to fight in July instead of maybe April or May, I should say, because there is no card in June of 2016. So that's interesting. They're going to want to. I think they're going to want to put all their eggs in one basket and just put on a great card. Now I hope it ends up coming to fruition, and we get to see maybe a John Jones in there and a Conor McGregor. Even a Demetrius Johnson. He's a great fighter. I could see him being one of the earlier fights on that card, defending his flyweight title. So lots to look forward to. Just wanted to make a little video, just talking about the upcoming, highly anticipated UFC 200. It's going to be a big deal, and that's taking place in July of this year. It's a little ways away. Just wanted to put out a little video about that. So if you like the video, subscribe. If you want to hear more UFC talk and coverage on the biggest news in UFC and in MMA. Also, I cover boxing. I really do enjoy the sport of boxing as well. So if you like boxing, subscribe as well. Also, if you like boxing, I'm going to give a shout out to YTBC Student and Jay Cotto's Fight Page. Both those channels are great for covering boxing. So check those channels out if you like boxing. And that's it for this video. MMA Boxing Talk. Peace.